I just want to
Mhm.
set the stage there that it is a physical necessity to
Yes.
be touched.
Right. And at what point do we think if it happens at birth, just like the Genesis, right?
Right.
Everything has to be from that space and that perspective. At what age do we think, oh, they don't need that anymore? Is it because they're
Right.
a teenager and they're like going through body changes and it's just awkward? Mom, don't kiss me in public or hold my hand. That doesn't mean they don't need it. And so I
Right.
do think it's also this like cognitive pursuit as people, as humanity. It doesn't have to be a mom to a child, but just like knowing that there are so many people who just need a hug. I think
Yeah.
about that for the homeless,
Yeah.
like people who are literally don't have family, their need for just being hugged. Like, yes, they need to be seen, but like, oh, that I just know how much I love a good hug. And so
Right.
I hope that of all the things you're listening to on this episode, like you just know that like go hug someone today. Like that is a love language it's missed. And
Yeah.
most of the time, like you said, there's just this idea of sexualization connected to it.
Yeah, and also like that it has to be in romantic relationship.
Correct.
And I was gonna say relationship, but like I know that like runs the spectrum that some people
Totally.
like might not be super comfortable with, and like that's fine for you.
Yeah.
You get to define what this is for yourself, and that's like the beauty of it.
Yeah.
But part of the book is like I want to give you all the tools that are
Mhm.
all available for you. And to your point with people who have had sexual trauma or
Yeah.
have had some kind of distortion over their physical intimacy or physical relationship. This is like not the book to heal that, but this might be a book for the next step of that. Of
Yeah.
like,
For
okay, you're like, I'm healed, but like, how do I move forward
That's
in
good.
terms of like defining this for myself?
It's really good.
Um, and the reason why I like have the hard time saying like this is just for like female best friends with each other, like
Yeah.
because I recognize that this might not be like that might not be accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
right? Or like our friendships or our family, like that is not always an accessible place. I know with like
Yeah.
my family, sorry family, we're not a very touchy feely family. We're just
Yeah.
not. Which like Paige, how did you become like this? Because like I'll go hug a tree like
I
easily.
love it.
But like my family's not. And so like they would not necessarily be a resource for me to like go and hug
Sure.
or go get that physical affection for.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think of like my massage therapist. He's a dude
Yep.
because I like some good elbow, like in my back.
The
I
big
need that every
strong
now,
hand.
right? But like getting a massage, if you are really starved for
Mhm.
that physical affection and you can't get it from a relationship, you can't get it from a friendship or a family relationship, like you have community resources that you can go seek out in order for you to get that physical touch in your
Mm,
life.
what a good idea. Yeah, that's so true. I
Personal
hadn't thought about
trainer,
that.
I have a
Yeah,
list. Go cuddle
I know,
puppies
I'm
at
like,
the
"Who
pound.
else?" Who else? I'm like, "This is good, this is great."
Yeah, go cuddle puppies at the pound. They need people to play with puppies.
It's
Go do
so
that.
good. Well, and I think too, we've alluded to the hug piece, but there's, a gal that I, like, watches my kiddos and has, like, really just loved on them since they were little, and she is a reborn artist. I don't know if you've ever heard of the reborn
I have
community.
not.
It's basically like these baby dolls that are, I mean, wildly realistic. I
Gotcha,
mean, it will freak
gotcha.
you out, okay?
Hyperrealism.
Oh my
Gotcha.
gosh. And she will put hair plugs in them, eyelashes. I mean, you can see the skin on the little newborn's like fingers coming up. I mean, it's bananas. But they
Yeah.
actually use these dolls in a therapy perspective for women who have dementia or have lost
Mm,
a child.
yeah.
And they literally, like you said about the babies, they're giving these people weighted children that look real. They can't
Mhm.
trust them because they might drop them because of their age, but like
Right.
literally it is allowing all of those chemical imbalances that you're talking about to come into alignment. And it doesn't have to be a hug. It could be a hold. It could be a handheld. It could
Yeah.
be like a conversation that just happened with my husband and my sister recently, where like he was telling her something hard and she just put her hand on like the back of his arm. And
Yeah.
he said it just made him feel so safe in that moment. And
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, like I wouldn't have thought to do that. But those are the things that matter. If someone's crying or they're at a table and you're across them and you put your hands on their hands, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like there's something about it that is lost. Going back to our friendship conversation, if
Right.
we think that the only way to connect or that our only real invested friendships are through a screen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like when we have this conversation, when I talk to people about this book, they're like, "Hey, can you write that book for my husband?"
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's the misunderstanding a lot of the times with
Yes,
men specifically
good.
and their ability to interpret physical signals the same way that women do.
Yeah,
I won't go as far as saying like men and women's sex drives are different. I don't
sure.
think they are. I think the way we interpret
Mm,
things
yeah,
emotionally is different.
that's good. Yeah.
Actually, that's like fact. Like our
Yeah.
brains are
Yeah.
like built different structurally.
Yeah.
Um, and I can nerd out about this. I don't know. Again, something else people might not know about me. I have my master's in psychology. So I like
So good.
absolutely nerd out about physiology in the brain and all of that
So
stuff.
good. Oh my gosh, this is great.
But when it comes to, like, having that spousal or, like, romantic relationship, I will say, and my husband's fine with me talking about this, it's in the book, we're good.
Yeah.
But, like, at the beginning of our marriage, this was something that, like, we had a bit of a sticking point around
Yeah.
is because, like, I would, like, just want all the touch like a koala to, like, the tree, like, just holding on, just because that's how I operate and that's my love language and
Yeah.
everything, and when I would go and do that, he'd be like, "Not right now, honey."
Mhm.
Because he was interpreting those efforts, like,
Right.
I won't even say advances, but me doing
Sure.
those things, he was interpreting that as like, "Oh, like, she's trying to initiate sex."
Yes. That's
Absolutely not
so good.
not
Yeah.
happening, like,
Yeah.
that's not what was happening, but that was the interpretation that was coming
Mm,
along, and so I think that this book will also be a really
good.
good, bridge to
Yeah.
get or a really good bridge to help close this gap, around how we talk about touch, and,
Mhm.
like, being like, "Hey, dudes, like, just because she wants touch doesn't necessarily mean she wants sex."
Yeah, it's a
And hey,
different thing.
women
Yeah.
yeah, and hey, women, like, you can go seek this out without having the expectation of sex on your plate.
Yeah, that's so good. I feel like there's just a lot of opportunity for healing through the
Yeah.
message in general. And you're right. I literally don't know anyone who's having this conversation. So, way to go, God, for
Yeah.
revealing this to you and for you being obedient to say yes. This really is a movement. I don't know if we'll call it the physical touch movement because that might have some other thoughts. We'll have to come up with another name, but I'm sure you've done that
I
with
can
your.
give you my working
Yeah,
title.
let's hear. Can we hear? I love
So it's
working titles.
reclaiming touch,
Ah,
which
that's
actually, like, speaks to
good.
kind of what you were going for. But yeah,
Yes,
reclaiming
that's
touch is the working
so
title,
good. That's
which
beautiful.
is, what we're talking about of like
Yes,
reclaiming it as your own and like
yes.
having ownership over that and being able to decide for
Mm.
yourself what that looks like. And like, again, it's just pursuing it in a God honoring way.